Hey, all right, testing. You hear me? Okay.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Temple Buddhist Center's Sunday meditation service. My name is Victor, and I'm honored to be of service this morning. We hope that our gathering today finds each and every one of you happy and healthy, but please know that if you are struggling in any way, our hope is that Temple Buddhist Center, this Sangha, these teachings can be a source of strength and refuge for you as we open our hearts to you and to your loved ones. We also take a moment to welcome everybody joining us from all around the world, all those folks who are at home in their PJs joining the Sangha. It is our beloved PJ Sangha, so welcome everybody. Also, just a quick reminder that as the season begins to change and we get into different weather situations, please know that we've got some blankets back by the altar at the rear of the meditation hall. There's also tissues, there are throat lozenges, there's a listening device, and we also have seating up front on cushions for those of you that might want to sit zazen style. So let's begin this morning with some conscious breath work. A conscious breath is where we breathe in deeply through the nose, we hold that breath for a few moments, and then release slowly so that the exhale is longer than the inhale. Let's begin. Holding that breath for just a moment, feeling the fullness of the lungs, and releasing slowly. In sort of a long, metered fashion. Good, and as you release that breath, see if you can also release cares, concerns, worries, ruminations, some of those troubles that may be very on the forefront of your mind right now. It's not that we're escaping, it's that we're balancing that concern with simply a vast open spaciousness of the mind that oftentimes helps us to work through or allows an answer to be brought forth for us versus us trying to figure everything out. And a second conscious breath together. Holding for a moment. And releasing slowly. And as you release, checking in once more with the body, making sure that there are no points that are tense or contracted. Remembering to release your forehead and your eyebrows. Let the jaw rest easy, the shoulders drop, and the belly softens. And a third conscious breath together. Holding for a moment. And releasing. And as you release on this third conscious breath, we allow into our awareness the present moment. The present moment might seem like a small increment of time, but it actually has no beginning and no ending, and we are always arriving in the here and the now. So here at Temple Buddhist Center, we like to begin our services with a little bit of chanting. Chanting is an integral part of every tradition. Chanting is not about being a singer. Chanting is about having a voice. Chanting is about a deeply devotional expression of what is sacred within you and sharing that with the universe. Our chant today is Buddham Saranam Gacchami, Dhammam Saranam Gacchami, and Sangham Saranam Gacchami. This is the chant version of the refuge prayer, where we take refuge in our Buddha nature, where we take refuge in the Dharma, both the truth of this moment and the truth of the teachings, and we take refuge in the Sangha. And so I'll speak more about those in just a moment. So with that, let's take a conscious breath. And let's begin. Buddham Saranam Gacchami. Dhammam Saranam Gacchami. Sangham Saranam Gacchami. Again. Buddham Saranam Gacchami. Dhammam Saranam Gacchami. Sangham Saranam Gacchami. Once more. Buddham Saranam Gacchami. Dhammam Saranam Gacchami. Sangham Saranam Gacchami. So here at Temple Buddhist Center, we practice Western style Buddhism. Western Buddhism is a blend of Eastern philosophy and Western psychology. And this brand new form of spirituality is dynamic. It's growing and learning and changing with us as we learn more about this precious human experience. Western Buddhism is inclusive. It is active. And it focuses on core Buddhist insights, as well as mindfulness, meditation, and their practical applications in our daily lives. Our goal here is not to get everyone to agree on a specific lineage or sect or philosophy of Buddhism, but rather it's on a shared experience of mindfulness, oneness, and love. Whether we are chanting together, whether we are sharing from the heart, or whether we are spending time in noble silence, we respect that you will participate at a level that is comfortable for you. Here at TBC, of course, we acknowledge these core values as expressions of the awakened mind. These are the three jewels of Buddhism, of all Buddhist practices, and they are, of course, the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. We take refuge in our Buddha nature, as well as the Buddha nature of all beings, bringing a fresh and a new experience to each and every encounter. And second is the Dharma, the truth teachings that release us from fear, from delusion, and help us to realize the true nature of who we are. And finally, Sangha, our spiritual community, an essential part of growth, where we come together to practice the teachings and to help each other along every step of the path. So at this time, let's go ahead and silence any cell phones or electronic devices as we prepare for a time in meditation and contemplation. We're going to begin with the prayer of refuge itself. And so we'll recite this 3 times together. Let's begin. In Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, we go for refuge until fully awakened. Through the power of generosity, ethics, patience, enthusiastic effort, concentration, and wisdom, for the sake of all beings, may we realize and demonstrate our innate goodness. In Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, we go for refuge until fully awakened. Through the power of generosity, ethics, patience, enthusiastic effort, concentration, and wisdom, for the sake of all beings, may we realize and demonstrate our innate goodness. In Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, we go for refuge until fully awakened. Through the power of generosity, ethics, patience, enthusiastic effort, concentration, and wisdom, for the sake of all beings, may we realize and demonstrate our innate goodness. And so, as we prepare now for a time in meditation, if you have an extensive practice, then we invite you to practice in a way that is fitting for you this morning. If perhaps you are newer to meditation, then we're going to begin with a dedication of intention. We will awaken the bell 3 times for the 3 jewels. And then our teacher today, Mr. Robert Brumet, will lead us in a guided meditation that's designed to assist you in moving into the stillness. We will spend approximately 10 to 12 minutes this morning in meditation, in noble silence, connecting with our Sangha in a completely different way. And not only that, but connecting with our Sangha here and also far, our greater Sangha, wherever they may be, past, present, and future. And so with that, let's take a conscious breath. Body, speech, and mind. In perfect oneness, I send my heart along with the sound of the bell. May the hearers awaken from forgetfulness, transcend the path of anxiety and sorrow, and realize the true nature of who they are.
All the way into the deepest silence within you. I invite you to go to that place within you that knows who you really are. I invite you to go to that place within that is the Buddha. And that knows you are the Buddha. And so as we sit in the silence, we sit as the Buddha. We sit the same as the Buddha did 2,500 years ago under the Bodhi tree. Sitting in the immovable spot. Refusing to move, refusing to do anything until he is awakened. And once awakened, there is nothing to do but know who you are. To be who you really are. To express who you really are. The Buddha, the Christ, the divine being. By any name is all the same. So we sit in that deep knowing, sitting in the place that always knows who and what you really are. At this time, I invite you to become aware of your body. Feeling your arms and your legs. Your back, pelvis, your hands, your feet. And see if you can sense your body and at the same time know who you really are. Yes, you are the body, but you are much more than that. The body is like the skin covering. The deeper, more tender layers of yourself. So I invite you now to become aware of hearing as well. You may notice a sense of expansiveness with hearing. So we can be the Buddha, we can be the body, we can be all that's around us. All at the same time. And in a moment, I will ask you to open your eyes and continue this practice with your eyes open. With your eyes open, aware of the world around you, you still know that you are the Buddha. You still are in touch with your body and all that you are. When you hear the bell, please open your eyes very gently. And we engage the practice as we go into our everyday life as well. And here's the bell. Good morning.
Good morning.
You feel the energy shift? Feels like this is the first day of autumn to me.
Adjust this just a little bit.
Okay. Thank you. So just notice where you are, what you're feeling, what you're sensing in your body. And at the same time, know you're infinitely more than that. This morning, when the alarm went off, I heard it. I was aware of the intention to turn it off. The next thing I was aware of, I opened my eyes, looked at the clock, and it was 8:05. And I thought waking up is hard to do. At many levels. And so it recognizing the energy of the seasons. And in the autumn, we typically focus a little more inwardly. We move a little more slowly. We adjust our lifestyle. And yet we're still ourselves. So that's the intention. That's a model for how we choose to live. That's what this practice is a way of life. So the first thing I want to mention is that I'm starting a Sangha called the Dedicated Practitioner Sangha. I've been doing this for a number of years, and typically it runs on a one-year cycle. This Sangha is for those individuals that have had some experience, had a few years' experience. It's not for beginners. It's for those that want to deepen your practice through study, through getting support from teachers, from one another, and from connecting with some other Sangha members in a deeper way. So if you're interested, there's a sign-up sheet on the desk, at the hospitality desk. Yeah. There's a copy of the book we'll be studying. There's an information sheet about the Sangha, and there's a piece of paper you can sign up on if you're interested. And we'll get in touch with you if you leave your name and email address there. So if you're interested, that's all you need to do is sign up, and you'll hear from us. Back in the 60s and 70s, there was a song that was very popular called Waking Up is Hard to Do. Some of us may remember it. Yeah. I don't know who the artist was. Was it Neil Sedaka? Oh, okay. Well, we're going to have a solo by Karen here in a moment. Yeah, breaking up is hard to do. Waking up is even harder. So I say that not to discourage you from practice, but to meet the reality that it is for most of us, for virtually all of us, particularly in our Western culture, because our Western culture is not conducive to waking up. It's more conducive to going to sleep, to numbing out, to distracting ourselves. So I find that once I can identify the reality of something, it makes things much easier. And once I realize that waking up is difficult, that life is difficult, then I don't expect it to be easy, because it isn't. We are conditioned, I believe, in our culture to think that life should be easy. That's what all the ads tell us. That's what all the TV shows tend to model. But it's not easy. So when we recognize that we're all in the same bodies, we're all in the same process of awakening. And it requires effort, what the Buddha called right effort. What Victor calls enthusiastic effort. It requires patience. Now, patience You know, I tend to think of remembering when I was a kid asking my parents if we're there yet from the back seat of the car and being told to have patience. That's not what I mean by patience. We're not trying to be patient till we get there. Patience is recognizing there's nowhere to go because we're already there. Okay? There's a cartoon I remember seeing in the New Yorker many years ago about some Bedouins on the back of camels, family of Bedouins. Father on the lead camel, and then the mother, and then each of the kids on smaller camels. And the father is up front, and then he turns around, looks behind, and he says, "Will you stop asking if we're there yet? For God's sakes, we're nomads." You know? And that's really what patience is. Is when we stop looking for, are we there yet? Because we're always on our way. And yet at the same time, we're already there. You see, that's the great paradox. The Buddha's last words to his disciples: strive on with diligence. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. It's interesting, if you were to go to the top of a mountain, what's the quickest way to get there? Well, the quickest way is the steepest way. You see. We don't get to the top of the mountain by walking up a gentle incline. We don't get there very quickly, I should say. If we want to get there quickly, we look for the steepest path. And the Buddha said to his disciples, you can awaken in this lifetime. There is a path to awakening. At his time, he lived in a Hindu culture which tended to believe that you had to spend hundreds of lifetimes before you could be awakened. You had to work off your karma. If you were a woman, you had to reincarnate as a man. If you were a laborer, you had to reincarnate as a higher caste. And the Buddha said, BS. It's in the Buddhist scripture somewhere. It's in Pali. Yeah, I don't know the Pali word for it, but basically that's what he said. He said, you can do it in this lifetime. But his path was that of monasticism. It wasn't for householders. It was a path for people who cloistered themselves and did nothing but to practice. So we are choosing that path, and we're choosing that path in the midst of a busy, complex world in the 21st century. So it's even more challenging. And it's even more possible. And it's even more important that we do. Because it is not an option for us to wake up today. Our world is on fire. It's burning with suffering. And so it's calling forth awakening beings more than ever before. So I address this issue to recognize that it's not easy, and yet at the same time, we just take one step at a time. That's all we need to do. We don't need to try to get to the goal line. We just take it 1 yard at a time, so to speak. So let me talk about what I mean by awakening. In a sense, there's two facets to awakening. One is the awakened mind. The awakened mind sees things as they really are. The awakened mind sees reality. That's simply what it means to awaken. To see reality. The awakened heart, that's the other part of it, awakening the heart, is to live in compassion. To see the reality that we are all the same being on the same body. We're each like different fingers, different toes, eyes and ears of the same body. Compassion is automatic when we recognize the reality of who we are. You know, you don't have to sit and have compassion for your little finger. It's part of you. You already love your little finger. You're not going to hurt your little finger, not intentionally. If it needs something, you'll take care of it because it's part of you. When we realize that every being, all beings, are part of you, me, part of the Buddha body, if you will. The Dharmakaya, it's sometimes called. That's what bodhicitta is. Bodhicitta means the awakened mind, the awakened heart. In the time of the Buddha, the word mind tended to include the heart. In our culture, we separate the mind and the heart, the head and the heart. But in that culture, it was mind, heart, citta. They were united. So there are two aspects of awakening, the heart and the mind. So, why is it so difficult to awaken? Well, number one, to awaken, we turn within. We turn away from the world as we see it. We may close our eyes. Some people do that. You don't have to. But closing the eyes is symbolic of focusing on the inner world of our own experience rather than that projected outer world, the movie we see. See, we're busy. So instead of looking at the movie screen, we look at the one that's looking at the movie. We look at the one sitting in the seat, becoming aware of what am I feeling as I'm watching this movie? What was my intention for coming here? Am I enjoying the movie? Do I need some popcorn? Whatever. So we're bringing awareness to that which is viewing rather than the movie screen of the world. That's difficult to do. It's not difficult to do for a minute. Well, for some it is. When we first get started, a minute's a long time. But we can do it for a minute or 5 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever. But to live our life 24/7 that way, it's very difficult. Because we're so conditioned to look outward for what we want, what we need. When we're born as a helpless infant, we turn to our mother. And then as we get older, we turn to our family. And then to our friends, our neighbors, our peers, et cetera, et cetera. Whatever culture, subculture we're in, we turn to that to get what we need. It's what some teachers call the outward gaze. The outward gaze. We're always gazing outward. It's almost, it is automatic. So it's difficult to gaze outward and at the same time be present to your inner world. In the inner world, we look at not only what we're feeling, what we're thinking, but what's my relationship to what I'm thinking and feeling. That's the challenging work, is to keep coming back to that. It doesn't mean we close our eyes while we're driving. We keep our eyes open, we stay fully present to our life. And at the same time, what's my experience? How am I relating to this experience? Am I grasping? Am I struggling against it? Am I striving for something else? You see. So it's hard to do simply because we're so deeply, deeply conditioned to look outward. See, the mind has evolved, the brain, I should say, has evolved to keep us, the body, alive. So we're very conditioned to look outward, to both get what we need and to protect ourselves. And that's okay to do that, but it's also important to turn that gaze inward at the same time. And it's difficult. It's difficult to do. Because when we do that, it can begin to feel like we're dying. Because everything I am is out there in some way. The ego is fully identified with what's happening external. The ego, which is the Latin word for me, says that who I am is based upon what I do, what I think, what I feel, how other people see me, where I go, et cetera, et cetera. That's who I am. To let go of that feels very vulnerable. It's like there's no me. Like jumping off a cliff sometimes. We have a strategy for getting what we want in the ego identification. Being perfect, being helpful, being the best, being the smartest, being the strongest. Even the spirituality has its ego of being the most kind and loving and sweet and holy. So the ego is always relating externally. So as we move more and more our center of gravity to relating inwardly to our inner experience and our relationship to that inner experience, it can feel like we're going into a free fall. And as Alan Watts says, you are falling. But everybody else is falling too, you see. And so what happens is we're falling, it scares us, we try to grab onto somebody else that's also falling. and they try to grab onto something else that's also falling. And so we have this culture of egos that are looking to each other for salvation, and we're all falling. If we just looked at each other and said, we're falling, it's scary, but we're together. Let's take a look. What's this experience of falling? What's this experience of not knowing who I am? Because in our culture, we're so conditioned that if you're not feeling great, something's wrong. If you're not feeling great, there's a pill, there's a lawyer, there's a drink. You know, there's something that'll take care of that. So you, quote, feel good again. So you can go back to sleep, basically. The culture can put us to sleep if we make that our reality. So we live in the culture. There's no way around it unless we join a monastery, which most of us haven't. And so I think I'll stop here. I could talk a long time about why the practice is difficult, but the main thing is it's overcoming every bit of conditioning that we have. And to appreciate that is not easy. And to appreciate the Sangha, to appreciate the Dharma, to appreciate the Buddha, and say, yes, it's difficult. Yes, here we are. And this is what's real. And I'm what's real. And you're what's real. So let's rest just for a moment in that reality. And in my heart, I hold the vision that all beings on this planet can awaken to that reality. Like a part of our body that's sore and aching and calling our attention, the world is aching and calling for our attention. So let us go within and know the truth. Thank you so much for participating in this wonderful, difficult practice.
Thank you so much, Robert. And so as we transition now from our Dharma talk into a heart practice, our heart practice this morning is a gratitude practice. So I invite you to, as we shift over from the Dharma talk into a heart practice, if you need to stretch, take another conscious breath, adjust your posture, whatever is necessary. And with the heart practice, sometimes people like to include an external or an outward gesture. So, for example, some folks like to create the Anjali mudra or the heart focusing mudra. Some people maybe just place their hand on their heart. Or you can also, if you're still sitting in meditation position and your hands are on your laps, you can just flip your palms upside down as sort of an expression of the heart as we go through this gratitude practice. And so with that, we'll take a conscious breath. And as you exhale, again, just checking in with the body, making sure it's gentle, easy, and light. There is no contraction of the forehead or the eyebrows. And we begin this practice of gratitude by feeling how year after year you have cared for your own body and mind. Now let yourself begin to acknowledge all who have supported you in this care. I hold in my heart gratitude for the care and labor of 1,000 generations of ancestors who have come before me. I hold in my heart gratitude for the creatures of the sky, the earth, and the water, whose joyful exertion blesses every day. I hold in my heart gratitude for the family and friends that I have been given and the community I share. I hold in my heart gratitude for the blessings of this earth that I have been given. I hold in my heart gratitude for the measure of health that I enjoy at this moment. I hold in my heart gratitude for the teachings and the lessons that I have been given, and for my teachers, both formal and informal. And just as we are grateful for our blessings, so too we can be grateful for the blessings of others. And so taking a moment now to let our hearts fill with warmth, love, and light of this gratitude, allowing it to expand and fill your entire body, down into the belly, the hips, the legs, up into the shoulders, the neck, the head, and down to the arms. And allow this to continue to intensify and expand until we become a beacon, a light, influencing everyone that you meet today. And so with that, let's take a conscious breath together. And as you release, be present in the here and the now. And in the true spirit of Dana, the Buddhist practice of generosity, temple services here are given freely. In the same way, if you choose to give, please give with a generous heart, which means not in return for anything that you have received today, but rather so that those who may be seeking refuge will find it here in this temple with these teachers and these teachings. The Dana boxes are located at the back of the meditation hall and up by the door in the balcony. And we take a moment of gratitude for all of our ambassadors, those folks who've committed themselves to regular monthly electronic giving. It's not about the amount, it's just that the regular monthly giving helps us to set a budget here at TBC. Also, gratitude for all of our wonderful volunteers who help us each and every day with all the different activities and events and classes. Gratitude for Rochelle for your beautiful music. Thank you, Ricky. Gratitude to Mr. Robert Brumet for your teachings, your wisdom, your friendship, your mentorship. And also gratitude to each and every one of you for sharing your heart, your presence, your practice with all of us here at Temple Buddhist Center. We certainly are the better for it. And so as we prepare to close our time together, I'll put the Bodhicitta dedication up on the board, and all of our friends out in the PJ Sangha and up in the heavenly abodes. There we go. And so we'll recite our Bodhicitta dedication, and then I have a few announcements. Lots of fall programming is starting to blossom, so I want to share a little bit of that with you. But until then, our Bodhicitta dedication together. May the pure, brilliant sun of bodhicitta dawn in each and every heart and mind, dispelling the darkness of suffering and confusion unstoppably until all are illumined and awakened. And with the palms of our hands together in front of our hearts, as we go forth now from this place, may we enter each moment in innocence, guided by the wisdom of our hearts. And as we open our hands, open our eyes, shine our light into the world. Namaste. Thank you so much, everyone. Don't forget, downstairs is coffee and tea and delicious crumble cookies. Thank you, Carrie. And so when you're down there, please introduce yourself to someone and make a new friend. Also, Temple Buddhist Center has been moved by the events going on in the world right now to hold a peace vigil this coming Wednesday, the 18th, from 6 to 8. The vigil is not a service, so to speak, so you're welcome to just come and go as you please at any time. Folks may want to come for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever. We will be doing some chants, some chanting, some peace chanting. We will have a flower mandala that you can take a flower and imbue that with your heart's desire for all beings to be well and to be experiencing the ease of well-being. And then also we'll put that into a mandala. And then we've got some members of our community that might share a peace reading or two during the course of that time. So there's no registration or anything. Just come Wednesday evening between 6 and 8 and stop by and add your heart to this. And today is third Sunday, which means that Tim and Brian will, or actually I think it's just Tim today, right? Or who's helping you today, Tim? Oh, it's Jen? Okay, Jen Toro is going to be helping Tim today with our authentic relating class. So on first and third Sundays, we always have a wonderful community class, interplay on first Sundays. And on third Sundays, it's authentic relating, where Jen and Tim will create structures and activities that help adults learn to share more from the heart and less from the head. So I hope you can join us today at 1 o'clock for authentic relating. And growing your practice is second and fourth Sundays. It's basically meditation workshop where we help meditators learn to solidify their practice and really get it a more solid foundation in their meditation and mindfulness practices. And coming up very soon, this Saturday, I believe, October 21st, is our quarterly Temple Buddhist Center day-long silent retreat. It's a wonderful opportunity to learn to deepen your practice, to make a more dedicated endeavor into meditation and mindfulness. Our theme for Saturday's day-long retreat is looking at understanding delusion, waking up from our reactivity. And then also, coping with depression kicks off this coming week. Tammy Beckaloo has written a book and has done extensive research as well as living through it, depression. And so that class is going to begin October 17th. Please register online. It'll be 6 weeks. And then we'll redo another round of it after that to see how things go with everybody. So we hope you can join us for this wonderful support group on coping with depression. And then finally, Tai Chi Cha every Tuesday evening at 6:30, a wonderful contemplative practice that helps you to imbue your daily life with meditation. And then don't forget to sign up for our volunteer newsletter and our volunteer opportunities out on the counter out front. And our lending library is burgeoning, is full of wonderful books and magazines that folks have brought from home to share the Dharma with each other here at Temple Buddhist Center. Don't forget to stop by our online store. Thank you, Liz, for building that. And then finally, I will leave this up here for you in case maybe you want to take a picture with your phone. Sometimes it's easier that way to keep track of all the wonderful things going on. So again, thank you all so much. As you go into your day, I wish you peace and blessings.